So we're going to start actually with a practice. And you can either put all your stuff down or hold it gently, whatever works well for you. And if you're willing, close your eyes. And if you don't want to close your eyes, you can just look at a neutral spot in front of you. And bringing your attention to your breath, feeling the expansion of your belly with the in-breath and the release with the out-breath. And perhaps paying enough attention that you can feel the entire in-breath from the very beginning, just where the belly starts to expand, all the way through to where the breath is still. And then see if you can feel the entire out-breath from the very beginning, just where the belly starts to release, all the way through to where the breath is still. And perhaps now you can notice that there's a still quiet place between the in-breath and the out-breath, and another still quiet place between the out-breath and the in-breath. And maybe you can rest your attention there. And this stillness and quietness is always with you. It's with you when you're breathing in. It's with you when the breath is still. It's with you when you're breathing out. It's with you when the breath is still. It's with you when you're angry. It's with you when you're happy. It's with you when you're excited. It's with you when you're sad. It's with you when you're reading or dancing or singing or doing your homework or arguing with your brother. This stillness and quietness is always inside of you, and you can find it just by paying attention to your breath. So take 3 more slow, deep breaths on your own, paying special attention to the stillness and quietness. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. So that's how I introduce mindfulness to children. And in the next video, I'm going to show you my friend Havid. And my friend Havid, up through class 6 in the Still Quiet Place course, was pretty sure that stillness and quietness didn't exist. So now we'll see what happens for Havid in class 6. So Havid, I'm going to start with you. You feel good? Just in general, or because of following the breath? Really? That's a change for you. So what do you think changed? You think it changed because he closed his eyes? What do you think? Does that sound like a good idea? Mm-hmm. And did you feel, even if it was just for like a millisecond, did you feel a sense of stillness and peacefulness inside of you? And this whole time, you thought I was crazy. Do you still think I'm crazy? You can say yes. So we can agree that I'm crazy and that there's some stillness inside of you. Can we agree to both of those, or only to the part that I'm crazy?
Both.
Both. Pretty interesting, huh? Okay. So your turn, Susan.
Calm.
Calm.
Relaxed.
Relaxed. And you knew Havid's eyes were closed, so that means your eyes must have been open some of the time. But did you have a sense of stillness inside of you, or not so much?
Not so much.
Not so much, but you do feel relaxed. Did you feel relaxed when you came in for class, or is it just a relaxed day for you? You don't know?
Pretty calm all day.
Pretty calm all day? Okay. So I have one question though for you, Nikki. If you suggested to Havid that he close his eyes, well actually you didn't suggest, you noticed that when Havid closed his eyes that might have made a difference. So how might that apply to you? Do you think it'd help if you closed your eyes? Are you willing to try it next time? Okay. More. So that's just a simple example. That's a group of fourth graders in a low-income school in Northern California. The majority of that school, the kids are on free lunch and the parents are Spanish speaking. And Mark had mentioned in his talk about we're really just starting to learn what different children of different ages can do as far as mindfulness practice and applying mindfulness in their daily lives. My own experience is that very young children, 4, 5, and 6, can know that and feel in the same way that you all felt that they have a still, quiet place inside of them. They can experience that. 6, 7, and 8, they can also learn that it's a reliable place to go for comfort when they're having difficulties. 9, 10, and up, they can begin to apply mindfulness in much the way that adults do. So the definition of mindfulness that I use with children is that mindfulness is paying attention here and now, so our mind's not in the past and we're not worrying or fantasizing about the future. With kindness and curiosity, so we're bringing these qualities of kindness and curiosity to our own experience. And this is the part that Mark was talking about John Kabat-Zinn has expanded his definition. The important part for me about mindfulness is we pay attention to our experience so that we can choose our behavior. So we can pay attention to our breath, we can pay attention to our bodies, we can pay attention to our thoughts. In a moment, we're going to pay attention to our feelings. And we can pay attention to our impulses, actions, and interactions. So this is what I'm practicing with the kids. So now we're going to pay attention to our feelings. So again, you can either put your stuff down or hold it gently in your lap. And again, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. And simply notice the feeling or feelings that are present right now. And some feelings have very ordinary names, like happy or sad or angry. And other feelings have more unusual names, like stormy or fiery or empty. So simply notice what feeling or feelings are present right now. And for some of you, the feeling may be very small. And for others of you, the feeling may be very big and powerful. See if you can just notice your feelings. And now perhaps you can notice where your feelings live in your body. Are they sitting in your chest? Are they an ache in your head? And you might notice the quality of the feelings. So is your feeling heavy or light? Is it still or moving? Is it warm or cool? Just noticing how your feeling feels in your body. And now you might want to notice or imagine if your feeling has a color or colors. Might be gray or bright red or deep blue. And then you can notice or imagine if your feeling has a sound. Your feeling may not have a sound. It might be whispering, might be giggling, might be groaning. And now take a moment and ask your feeling what it wants from you. And usually feelings want something fairly simple. They want something like time or attention or kindness or a way to express themselves by writing poetry or banging a drum or talking to someone. So just ask your feeling what it wants from you and listen very carefully to its response. Then you can take a moment and thank your feeling. And when you're ready, take 3 slow, deep breaths and open your eyes. So, a lot of times educators and counselors and doctors talk about emotion regulation. And it is a term that's used and a thing that we assess. But really, when I'm working with children and adolescents and their feelings, my intention is to support them in what I tell them is having their feelings, so really knowing truly what they're feeling without their feelings having them. And especially without their feelings having them and having them act in ways that they may later regret. So that's what that practice is intended. The reason that this picture has a drawing is because after I do this practice with the children or the teens, I usually have them either draw a picture of their feeling or write what I call a feelings haiku. And I don't worry about the 5-7-5. I use a much simpler definition of haiku, which is what can be said in a breath. So one of my favorite 5th grade feeling haikus is excited, golden, ticklish. So part of the reason that we want to be aware of our thoughts and our feelings, and often how we're aware of our thoughts and our feelings is our physical sensations in our bodies, is so that we can choose our behavior. So this is actually the same class with my friend Nikki again, and he's going to tell you about choosing his behavior. Nikki, you ready?
Ready?
What? Give me an example.
Well, I just got my cat named Charlie, and I was playing Rosha and Bo with him when I was about 6, and then he chased me down my house and bit me in my leg, so I was bleeding, so I just wanted to knock him out.
And did you, or what did you do?
I almost did.
Yeah, so this is that thing, that almost moment, that moment of almost, like when Paul almost pulled the pigtails or you almost knocked out your cat. That almost moment's really important. And if we can be aware of that feeling of, I almost want to knock him out. You know what, you go first, and then I'll say what I was going to say.
Okay. So, like, when I watch TV and then my brother changed out, like, I really want to hit him.
Yeah. And what does that almost moment feel like in your body? So this thing of the almost moment, it's really, really important. And where I live, where Dr. Doty lives, in 2010, we had 6 young people take their lives by standing in front of a train. So the question for me is, if even one of those people had learned to relate to their thoughts and their feelings the way Nikki did, maybe when you ask them, did you stand in front of the train, they would be here to say, no, but I almost did. So this work is it's not trivial. I mean, it truly, lives depend on it. And these almost moments show up for kids every day, whether it's hitting their brother or their cat or the bully on the playground, whether it's dropping out of school or using drugs or having unprotected sex. It's really critical that we support kids in learning how to be with their thoughts and feelings, especially their uncomfortable thoughts and feelings, and then choose their behavior. So one way we do this is we practice peace. So we'll do one more practice. So you can take a moment and think of a difficulty in your life. And it could be a big difficulty or a small difficulty. And when you notice that things are difficult, you can practice peace. So P is for pause. So when you notice things are difficult, you can pause. E is for exhale. And after you exhale, you want to inhale. And you can keep doing that. A is for acknowledge, accept, and allow. So you can acknowledge the difficulty. You can acknowledge your thoughts about the difficulty and your feelings about the difficulty. Especially for teenagers, you may be angry, jealous, heartbroken, all of the above. You can allow that to be as it is. And then C is for choose. And at its best, choosing has some additional C's. So clarity, being clear about what it is that you want, what it is the person you're interacting wants. Compassion, having compassion for yourself and others, and how tremendously difficult it can be sometimes to be human. Courage, courage to speak your truth and hear the truth of someone else. And comedy, I actually prefer the word humor, but it doesn't start with C, so we'll use comedy. Not taking ourselves too seriously can go a long way in allowing us to deal with difficulties. And E is for engage. And so once you've paused and exhaled and accepted and allowed, you can engage. And you may choose not to engage for several minutes or several hours or several days, depending on the degree of difficulty, but eventually you can engage with the situation. So this is an example of actually another class in another school of a little boy who's, at the end of every course, I ask the children to bring something to share that symbolizes their experience with the still, quiet place and mindfulness. And so he's going to share a haiku about this process of choosing his behavior.
I brought 2 haikus. One was about how I get into holes, and the next is about how I get out of them. And this one, I got into a hole by fighting with my brother. I fight with Martin. I fall into a deep hole. I cannot get out. And then I'm in a deep hole. I go to him and resolve. The problem is solved.
So we use a poem called The Autobiography in 5 short chapters, and this is how I teach kids about reacting and responding. And the poem basically is, I walk down the street, there's a big hole, I fall in, I can't find my way out, it's not my fault. The next time the person walks down the street, they know the hole's there, they fall in anyway, and they can't get out. The next time they skirt the hole, so they just barely skirt around it, and the last time they take a different street. And so his first haiku was talking about falling into a hole with his brother, and the second haiku was talking about going to his brother and resolving the situation. And so the kids really like that poem because it's a very concrete way for them to learn. You can talk to them, you can say, what do any of you have holes in your life? What kind of holes do you have in your family? What kind of holes do you have with school? What kind of holes do you have with your friends? And they are all like, ooh, you know, and they will tell you how they do it. And then they can start to consider what would a different street be. And it's particularly powerful to do this with families because families have very common family holes. And so it can become a joke in a family where the person will say, Mom, I think Rachel's in a hole. I'm going to leave her alone. Or, Mom, you look like you're falling into a hole, and maybe you want to just stop for a minute and, you know, consider what your different streets are. And so it's especially nice to do this with families. So these are just some quotes from some of the kids about what it means to them to do these practices and learn these skills and rest in the still, quiet place. Dear Invisible Bob, resting in the still, quiet place is very relaxing. It helps you get in touch with your inner self and find out how you're actually feeling. Brothers and sisters are a big theme. It feels sort of strange but peaceful. I can't really tell how I use mindfulness at home, but I know it helps me when I'm mad at my brother. Mindfulness is a great class because you can chill out and relax. It will cool you down and make you less stressed. You should try it if you're mad or sad or just want to feel better. That's what I do. Try it. When I'm sad or kind of in a bad mood, I take about 10 breaths and I get relaxed. I also forget about my worries. I learned this from mindfulness. I enjoy coming here because I forget about my troubles and all the things in my life that is sad. My sadness just fades. And again, these are kids who are, a lot of them living in, first of all, very low socioeconomic setting, and often with one parent or even not with a parent but with a grandparent or an aunt. And so they're learning these skills and it's proving to be very helpful. So we'll close with one more practice. So sitting, closing your eyes, feeling the breath in the belly, allowing yourself to settle in to this moment. Again, seeing if you can pay close enough attention to feel the in-breath, the stillness, the out-breath, and the stillness. Allowing yourself to rest in stillness and quietness. Feeling the cycle of the breath. And when you're ready, opening your eyes. And miraculously, I have 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. So I want to talk about one other thing, and it's something that Dr. Doty mentioned this morning. about the negative internal chatter. And when I'm teaching to kids, I call that unkind mind. And we do different fun ways of learning to watch our thoughts. My personal favorite is blowing bubbles. So we blow bubbles and we talk about what happens to the bubbles. And some pop, some last longer and then they pop, some clump, some are bigger, some are smaller, some move quickly, some move slowly. And we use that as a way of watching our thoughts, watching our thought bubbles. But then we talk about being able to watch our unkind mind and all that negative internal chatter. I'm stupid, I'm ugly, I can't do it, why bother? And one of the interesting things is as they learn to watch their thoughts, they also learn that they don't need to believe them or take them personally. And then they start to learn that maybe they don't need to believe, as Jim was saying, some of the unkind thoughts that get put on them from teachers, parents, peers, and especially the media. And with teens, it's really great to talk about not succumbing to the unkind mind of the media. So those are just some examples of how I work with children and teens to teach them the skills of mindfulness. And thank you for your kind attention.